I'm Stevie Thomas of Ballin' Out Kennel, and I had a really cool experience. I got to help teach and be a part of my first ever rabbit hunting seminar. I collaborated with Mid Iowa Beagles here in Iowa, as well as the Iowa DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and they held a class and a seminar on how to rabbit hunt with beagles. So it was really cool for me to get asked to go and speak to that event, and I actually was able to record a lot of it for us. So I hope you enjoy. Here comes the video. All right, should we get started?
Sure. Yeah, well, we might have a few more filter in and as we go. So, first of all, I want to welcome you to Olafson Range. If you haven't shot out here, please check out our range. It's a wonderful facility. We have 3 staff ranges across the state. They're available. Banner, which is south of Des Moines, and then we just opened one over in Scott County, which is a Cody shooting complex. So that opened mid-December, brand new. So if you're coming over that way, go ahead and check it out. It's a good way to get your firearm sighted in and have a little fun. My name's Rose Danaher. I'm an outdoor skills specialist for Iowa DNR. I tell everybody I have the best job in the whole world because I get to teach people how to hunt and fish. And I cannot believe that they pay me to do that. It's pretty cool. These programs, Hunter Ed, this is what we consider advanced Hunter Ed, and my position are paid for through the federal excise tax on firearms and ammunition. So anybody that shoots, even if they're not a hunter, is helping pay into wildlife conservation and then some of these advocacy programs and learn to hunt programs that really help get more people outside. So that's my little pitch: is that anybody that's purchasing firearms and ammunition is then paying into our fund that helps do wildlife work and education programs. And then we have 2 really special guests here to teach you about rabbit hunting and their dogs today. And I want to say a huge thank you, because to take a day off in the middle of the prime of their hunting season is really, really generous. But I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and kind of talk a little bit about what we're going to do today.
So I'm Stevie Thomas. I actually work for the Waterloo Police Department. I'm on the TAC unit down there, sniper on our team down there. But above all that, field training officer and that sort of stuff. But I'm a rabbit hunter. I've been rabbit hunting since I was knee high to a grasshopper, and it just continued with me. Now I've been probably running dogs for probably going on close to 10 years now. But I love sharing. Actually, a couple of people in the room I met through rabbit dogs and beagle hunt and rabbit hunting. That's Ryan is my good buddy now, but before we just were Facebook friends, and one day he just wanted to come up and hunt with me, and we've been buddies ever since. So I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for him to have me come up and share experience with y'all, and hopefully we should have a good day.
I'm Ryan. I am the president of Mid Iowa Beaglers, and we are a Beagle club here in the metro area. We host UKC field trials and we promote the sport of rabbit hunting. Um, when I'm not rabbit hunting, I'm a nurse at the hospital, um, so I get a lot of time out. Yeah, I met Steve when I was just getting into this in 2017. I just had one dog I just bought. He was 7 months old, light started. And yeah, Steve's been great. He helped me learn a lot about the sport. And I actually had a female out of a couple of his dogs. And then when I bred her and Murphy, my other dogs are all out of that cross. So, and you'll get to meet those guys later. Um, but yeah.
I mean, we're a lot on social media. If you look at like Balling Out Kennels and stuff like that, there's some educational videos on there. We got videos of hunts. I think I got a couple of videos of us on there too. Again, not we're on TikTok, Instagram, all that sort of stuff that you can access to. Again, it's just really trying to share what we love to do with other people. There's a lot of people that really don't know much about rabbit hunting. It's starting to get more popular, just because it's something you can do in the daytime. I got coon dogs too, and it's different going out at night. You got to have a light, all sort of stuff. You can do a lot of this in the daytime, and you don't necessarily have to be quiet. So it's a good sport. We all started pretty much as kids learning to hunt rabbits and squirrels, and that's where our foundation started. And I think a lot of people should get more into that. So we'll roll through a lot of this information, and we'll try to share as much. If you got any questions, like please, that's really the benefit of the course, is answering y'all's questions. That's what we're here for. That's what we love to do, and we should have some fun with it. So
yeah, social media at Dirty Beagles. He's balling out kennels at Dirty Beagles.
They've got some really good stuff
Yeah,
on there.
you can get on Instagram. I post videos all the time.
to help us out, could we go around the room and just get a little bit about what you want to learn today? I would like to know what your name is, where you're from, and then are you a new hunter or just new to rabbit hunting, or what's your interest? What do you want to take home from today's event? And we'll start right here.
I'm Brad Heiser. I'm from Ankeny. I've been hunting for years, mostly a pheasant hunter.
Okay.
And we like beagles, but we've never really used beagles rabbit hunting. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm Owen Heiser, also from Ankeny. Been pheasant hunting. That's kind of the main thing I've done. So grew up with beagles, so it'd be cool to learn a little bit more about that part of the sport.
Nice.
I'm Leo Acosta. I'm from Omaha and do some pheasant hunting and waterfowl. Yeah, and I have a little Brittany, and I've been watching some of y'all's videos and became kind of fascinated with beagles. So.
Awesome.
I'm Case Myers. I'm from Sperry, and I mostly go deer hunting, but I really haven't been rabbit hunting, or I just kind of want to learn how to rabbit hunt.
Nice.
You guys got to meet Jason Unzicker down there. He lives right by Sperry. He helped teach class last year. I'll have to give you his information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Chad Myers. We're here for the hunter education part of it, but I grew up rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting. Never used a beagle, but my brother had one, and it always chased rabbits around. We just never used it. But it had a heck of a voice on it.
Yeah. Yep. You do.
Tori Nemothy from Estherville. I've never gone rabbit hunting at all. They just seem way too fast for me to shoot. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
Katie Steinway from Estherville. Just dabbled in pheasant, deer, and turkey hunting, but thought rabbit would be something fun to learn more about.
My name's Lauren Moffett, and I am kind of an import here from the state of Minnesota. We moved here a year ago last August.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, anything that there is a tag for or a license for, I probably pursued at one form or another. But I've never really done much rabbit hunting, and I've read many articles on these beagles, and it's always intrigued me. And when this showed up, I thought this would be a heck of a good place for me to get some insight.
Perfect. We love it. Love it. Love it.
I'm Richard Rivas. I'm from, I originally lived in Des Moines, but moved to Cedar Rapids a while ago. And I saw this class, and I haven't hunted before, but I'm trying to get into it. So just interested in it.
You're in the right spot, my man.
I'm Mike. I'm originally from Chicago, and I've never hunted a day in my life. I just like skeet shooting and stuff like that. And this big deal over here found this for me. I was like, wanted to get into hunting, so this was a nice intro for me to kind of learn the do's and don'ts.
Oh, real. You're in the right spot.
Austin, originally from Towns Bluffs, living Grimes now. A little bit of a hunter, pheasant, and deer down in Missouri with my brother-in-law. But never done anything for rabbits or squirrels, so looking to get into that this year.
That's fun, dude. That's a lot of fun.
What's your name?
And I'm Oliver, and I was born at Des Moines, and also we had to move to Chapel Bridge. We had to move to Chapel Bridge, and because my mom wanted to be closer to the school.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us. That sounds like we have a good group. I'm going to tell just a little story about me. I didn't hunt until I was like 23. Somebody gave me a dog. And it absolutely changed my life. So this dog business can be really, I'm going to say dangerous, because I now have 4 bird dogs that live in my house. But it's a slippery slope, but it is so much fun. So looks like we got a couple more coming in.
Oh, you guys, yeah.
Come on in.
Beagles are like potato chips. Hard to have.
Yeah,
Just
I mean.
one. I thought when I got Murphy, I was just gonna have one. And you can do it with one dog. One good dog.
We can slide. We can slide another chair there too together. It's not a big deal. There you go. Yeah, you're welcome.
We were just doing introductions, so if you want to tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you hope to learn today.
Just put you on the spot there, sir.
Steve Lucan, we're West Des Moines residents. My 2 boys, they can introduce themselves.
I've hunted rabbits. We had beagles tons when we were kids. These guys haven't ever hunted with them, so I mostly just pumped to see beagles again. So that's my. But they can introduce themselves. Who are you? What do you do?
Everything.
I'm Ted, and I'm excited to see the Beagles too.
Cool, me too.
Awesome.
We'll have a lot of fun today.
Yeah.
All right, tiny bit of housekeeping. There's bathrooms if you go down the hall on the right. There's water and soda in the fridge in the entryway. You don't have to pay if you're participating in a class, so go ahead and grab a drink if you get thirsty. And then please, every time you have a question, interrupt us to ask it, because this should be really interactive. We've got a nice sized group here and we want a lot of engagement. So thanks everybody for coming. And
There's chips and cookies over there too if you want to snack on anything. And we'll probably do lunch after we get done with the seminar thing before we go out to the field, or we can do it after. We'll just keep it warm. But there's rabbit stew and dinner rolls and all the stuff
treat.
with it. So.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, that's Randy right there. We already kind of talked about that. Mid-Iowa Beaglers is a club. We host UKC Beagle events and promote the sport of rabbit hunting. So anything we can do to reach out to people and get them involved in the sport of beagling is kind of our shtick.
You want me to click through for you so you can stand up?
Sure.
We'll just pull that over and nod at me when you want me to.
Okay.
Looks uncomfortable to squat for an hour.
Oh,
I was a wrestler. I can squat all day. Yeah. So, and she kind of touched on the Pittman-Robertson Act. Anytime you buy firearms, ammunition, archery equipment, stuff like that, that tax goes to fund programs like this. So it's a great thing. The other way that we get a lot of conservation funding is, hunting and fishing licenses, boat registrations. So, get your licenses, spend the money, it goes to a good place. That's how we're going to be hunting almost exclusively public ground in Iowa. If you're trying to get on private ground, is really tough to get on these days. It's not like when we were kids and you could just go ask a farmer and they'd let you get on there, especially if you got dogs. They don't want your dogs anywhere near their deer stands. So, yeah.
And Iowa is one of the places they probably have, outside like Nebraska maybe, but they have a ton of public. I hunt 98% public, and hunting rabbits, that's a benefit of it too. Obviously, we known for deer and stuff like that, but most of our public, it has rabbits on there. Again, we'll meet up. I'm from Waterloo. I live in Waterloo, but I'll meet Ryan, and we'll just literally look at the map and pick a spot, and it has public hunting, and we'll go. And we'll usually have rabbits there. So we have access more than some of the other people as far as what they can hunt. So there's tons of ground, tons of public. You're probably more likely gonna find rabbits.
All right. Know your hunting regulations. It's your responsibility to know the laws regulating your hunt for your location and game. Iowa DNR has the regulations on the website. You can pick up the book. That's last year's, but this year's is similar.
I've got a few sitting over there on the table if you need a copy.
Big ones for rabbit hunting is basically just your season dates and your limits. Season is the first Saturday of Labor Day weekend, wherever that falls. Some years it's August 31st, some it's not until September 6th or whatever. So it's whatever that falls on, and it goes until February 28th. It's always the 28th. They don't give us the 29th on leap year.
I wish they did though.
I wish they did though, but they don't. So, and then your possession limit is 10 is your daily limit per hunter, and 20 is your possession limit per hunter. So it's a pretty big limit. If you can, it is a lot of rabbits. If you can get 10 rabbits in a day, that's a ton. Like, I don't think we've got anywhere near a 2-man limit when Steve and I are out. We've got 1-man limit.
Yeah, we've got close. I think the most we got one time is 14. But we hunted most of the day. And with Beagles too, and we'll get more into that part of it, we really don't shoot or try to shoot a rabbit that the dogs aren't actively running. sometimes it's hard to pinpoint, but just walking through and kicking brush, we don't necessarily do that with the dogs. We try to harvest the rabbit that the dogs are actually after. It's a reward for them just as much as us too. But yeah, even with the season, rabbit season is the longest, so you can literally it opens first and it ends last, so you got a lot of time to enjoy the sport more than all the others.
Yeah. All right. Identifying your target. It's not too hard in Iowa. There's not really a lot of other rabbits in Iowa besides cottontail. There are some white-tailed jackrabbits in Iowa still. I've seen more reports of them this year than I have in a long, long time. And some of them are in this area too. I've seen one for sure in the last 7 years with beagles. It came through, dogs were chasing it. It was as big as the dogs were. So that's the first thing. So I didn't have my gun up because I thought it was a dog and it ran by. And then I'm like, yep, good thing I didn't have my gun up because that was definitely a jackrabbit. So they're protected here because their numbers are low. So just identify your target, make sure it's a cottontail. This angry guy here is a jackrabbit. They look kind of surly.
And I've never seen one in person, but I've had my brother. I'll get you one second. I had my brother. He lived out in California for a while, and he said they literally are. They're huge. You would almost never be able to mistake a cottontail for a jackrabbit. He's like they'll stand up and they'll be almost 3 foot tall. Like they're just huge animals. So you gotta.
That was gonna be my question: is how do we tell them apart?
The size for sure.
Size for sure. One's a hare and one is not, and so they tend to have. Like you can see a difference in the head shape. The biggest thing is going to be that massive size. Like they are so much bigger. Go ahead and I think we have another.
I was just wondering.
Yeah. So here's our little cottontail. You can see our cute little cottontail with the button nose. Yep. Nothing like our jackrabbit. Okay. Like just other than pointy ears, similar colored fur. We covered season dates. Got a little ahead of ourselves, apparently. Habitat. Steve, do you want to talk about habitat?
So, a lot of times with habitat, and especially in Iowa, we have a wide variety of it. So there's some areas where you see mostly rabbits. I know a lot of pheasant hunters. You got CRP and that sort of stuff. Rabbits will hide in that. Most of the time, it's more of like an early season. If we don't have any snow, that's where you'll find a lot of those rabbits. As soon as that snow comes, they can't handle being out there. They'll get taken by a hawk or eagle or owl or even a coyote if he can get to them. So then they'll transition more to the timber. If you got down trees, you have brush piles, especially now we have briar patches, multiflora rows. They love those. Just like you don't want to stick your hand in there, a coyote or a bobcat or something like that, they don't want to get in there and try to get after those rabbits either. But again, in Iowa, we have a lot of them. If you watch, especially once the snow hits in the timber, the beautiful part about rabbit hunting is they leave a lot of sign. You'll see pellets everywhere if you get into an area that rabbits are around. You can start looking at some of the trees, the saplings. When it starts getting colder in the winter, they'll eat a lot of the green that are still in those small saplings. That'll give you another idea of, okay, you might be in a good place for rabbits. Again, down trees, we got CRP, brush piles. They actually have a wide variety of where they can actually live just because of their diets and stuff like that. They can move around and have different habitats that they still can survive in. Yep, go ahead.
For us newbies, what is CRP?
So it's basically little blue stem, big blue stem. It's a grass, pretty much, is what it is.
Conservation reserve program.
Yep. It's part of some of the funding that they'll get, and they'll supply seed, and it's a program that will allow others to plant just habitat for mostly pheasants, but all the other animals use it as well.
It'd be like primarily really thick grasses.
Yep.
That's kind of the landscape that you would see.
Yeah. They also rabbits love pine groves, like not necessarily the tall ones that have like a big canopy. You can want those ones that are real low to the ground, especially when you start getting snow on the ground. They love to hide under those pine trees, so that's one to look for too. And like he was saying with the nibbling on like the saplings and stuff. One of the way I was in Wisconsin hunting with my brother, we were hunting public land. We had no idea. Neither one of us has ever really been there. He's not really a huge hunter, but we were looking for spots for rabbits. So we're just driving around, and there they would put up little chicken wire stuff around around the saplings. So we drove by that. We saw the chicken wire around all these saplings, and I was like, that's got to be there for a reason. So we got out, walked around, rabbit sign everywhere. It's one of my favorite spots in central Wisconsin now. So yeah, look.
And you got to think like the own rabbit's defense mechanism is really like to hide and to run. That's really all they have. So as much cover and the thicker the better is going to allow them to survive. Because the only thing they can really do is just run away, hide, or just try to camouflage and that sort. They'll fight each other, but they don't really they don't have any equipment to fight off anything bigger than themselves, really.
All right. Methods of take. So yeah, there's really not any designated type of method of take in Iowa. So it's really up to whatever you want to take a rabbit. Of course, firearms are the big ones. With beagles, we're typically using shotguns because single projectiles can ricochet, and you have a whole lot more hazards for the dogs with like a 22 pistol or anything like that. That being said, I will every now and again take my little 22 pistol out and do it when it's just me and I know where my dogs are. But yeah, so shotguns are really kind of the base, but you can use an air rifle, um, slingshots, bows and arrows. I tried so hard this fall with a bow and arrow. I did. I had so many shots. Those rabbits can dodge an arrow. It's crazy. I hit one. It ran off with my arrow still in it. It turned and it hit it right in the backside. It was not a good thing. So I don't know. But yeah, bows and arrows. That's a fun way to try. Rabbit sticks. Rabbit sticks are basically like a weighted stick. If you can throw it at it, I'm I'm gonna try next year. That's my goal. I want to get one with a rabbit stick. Um, this one, this is my new toy this year is my rabbit pistol. It's a single shot 410. It's a 45 410, so it does have rifling in it.
Is that a brawler?
Yes, it has a choke installed in the end to try and help stop the shot from spinning out. You got about 15, 20 yards max effective range with it. So like I said, method of takes pretty wide open. You can do all kinds of things. You can make it as hard or as easy on yourself as you want. Sometimes I like to make it harder on myself. So
And I started with 12 gauge shotgun. A lot of people think, oh my goodness, you're gonna use a 12 gauge, it's probably gonna blow the rabbit up. We use, for the most part, I try not to use more than 6 shot. You can get away with 5 shot and that sort of stuff. But I would highly go against using any type of full chokes or any of that. The rabbit just can't handle that much power, or they can't handle that much shot all in one spot. If you do end up hitting a rabbit, you probably won't be able to eat them. We hunt for sport, but we also love to eat the rabbits. I mean, if you've never had it, you're missing out. But we'll have some today. But I started out with the 12 gauge shotgun, and I actually have a video on YouTube that's talking about some of the different shotguns to use. You could pretty much use whatever 20 gauge with rabbits or with beagles. A lot of people use like 410s. And the reason we do some of that sort of stuff is because with the dogs, and we'll get into that too. The dogs will track the rabbit. All rabbits run in a circle. It just allows you to get a little bit closer and be able to track them and figure out where exactly those rabbits are at. So, or you can, I just got a 28 gauge, which I didn't actually know 28 gauges existed, but that's probably my favorite rabbit gun, and I think it's like that perfect medium between 410. Most of the time with a 410, the shot size is just an exaggeration, but the shot size is probably about that big coming out of the end of that barrel. With a 12 gauge, you probably got a much wider spread. With a 20 gauge, it's a little bit smaller. That 28 gauge is just that right happy medium. It's low recoil. Now I will say the shells are a little bit expensive, like most of the shells nowadays, but it's that perfect rabbit gun. It's pretty lightweight for youth and that sort of stuff. I love it. It's excellent. If you want it challenging like my man here, the 410 pistol. I got another buddy who's using those. It definitely is a challenge, but it's a lot of fun too.
and I load my own, save myself some money. And a lot of the stuff around here is non-toxic. We'll get to that too. The other thing that 28 gauge, a lot of people say is the best rabbit gun, and I'll tell you, if you want to get into the physics a little bit, it's because of the shot stack on a 410. It's so long and narrow, all your pellets are lined up like that. So even with the chokes and everything, you're going to get a tighter pattern in the middle and more flyers. So So you've got to be just a super good shot. Even with a wide open choke, it's going to do that just because of the geometry and the physics of the shot. So the 28, it really isn't much more shot than the 410, but because it's so much, I mean, a 410 is like a 67.5 gauge if you put it in gauges versus a 28. So the shot stack is less. So it's more about less about the shot weight and more about just
The pattern.
and the physics of it. So, all right, moving on. And we talked about lead versus non-toxic. So a lot of public areas, especially the marshes around here, will be lead-free to protect waterfowl and birds of prey and things like that. Story County, all public land in Story County is all non-toxic, even your single projectiles for deer. If you're gonna use steel, you gotta shoot bigger pellets. Like Steve said, 6 on lead. I use 6 in lead all day if I'm using lead. With bismuth, it's a little bit lighter than lead, not much. I'll shoot 5s, maybe even 4s in bismuth. With steel, you really gotta jump up. I wouldn't shoot anything less than a 4 or anything smaller than a 4 with steel at a rabbit. So duck loads, if you're gonna use steel, they drop speed so much, and I don't like wounding things, so I really stay away from steel. But that's your prerogative. Bismuth, like I said, it shoots closer to lead, but it is a lot pricier. Non-toxic ammunition, like I said, basically just lessens the risk of an injured animal causing harm to raptors or scavengers that aren't very tolerant of it. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just curious. Have you guys used the newer tungsten stuff at all?
That would be a very expensive rabbit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
It would be, because what is that, like $40 for like
they're
5 rounds or something like that?
Yeah,
I
they're
haven't checked. I was just asking.
Yeah. Even my bismuth rounds.
The bismuth is expensive too.
Yeah, it is. I load my own, so you can buy bismuth and load your own, and I'm under $1 a round. I'm probably about 75, 60 cents a round for the 410. I'm closer to $1 a round on the 20 gauge. And the benefit to that for me is, for one, I can hunt wherever I want to. I don't even carry lead shot with me, because if you get caught with lead, it's like $500 fine if you're in the wrong spot with it. So just so I don't accidentally have it with me, I don't even do lead shot anymore. But yeah, it makes you conserve your ammunition. You pick your shots a lot better. You know what I mean? So, because you're not, I mean, I've got several videos of some $10, $15 rabbits shooting bismuth after you've taken that many shots at it. So.
And most of the time in Iowa too, like our public land, they're posted signs where it is, and you can always call down to the conservation office too if you don't know. They have a real cool app that you can find a lot of places to hunt. It'll have that information on there. I'm a little bit more northeast than here, and we haven't necessarily switched to the non-toxic. We still can shoot lead in most every place, but I'm sure it's going to transition at some point. But again, all those places have all that information posted when you pull into the parking lots or just somewhere around the boundaries.
Yeah, and yeah, another friend of mine found out the hard way he had one lead shot that was in his bag when he was duck hunting, and they actually checked, and they checked that one shell, and he got the fine for having it. So don't eat, if it says non-toxic, don't have any lead on your person. Put it in the trunk, close it away. Don't take any lead shot onto something posted non-toxic. All right. Hunting methods. Steve and I both started rabbit hunting as kids, walking up rabbits. That's how I did it until 2017. Well, I had a bird dog that would kick them up for me, and he'd jump shoot off the nose of the bird dog. So basically, yeah, you take a walk where the rabbits are, and when it flushes, you shoot it. That's how you walk up rabbits. It's really, there's a couple ways you can do it to make yourself more successful. Walk slow, take pauses, things like that. But we're really more about dogs today, so we're just touching on these.
And like I said, I started that way too. As my dad, my pawpaw, my brothers, we were the dogs before we had dogs. You had to get in the brush, you had to kick the brush piles, you have to do all this sort of stuff. And my dad and my papa are the one that got the shots, and we had all the blisters and all the thorns and everything else. But it helped out. It helps now just because I know where those rabbits are at. Once you're starting to do some of that sort of stuff, you really figure out where the rabbits like to be, where they like to hide. Now we can put the dogs in there in those same locations. Again, walking up the rabbits, you can do it. But the only thing, the benefit I think of with dogs, it'll allow you to have another shot. A lot of times you go in there and you kick that brush pile, you're going to get one shot at that rabbit and he's gone. He ain't going to come back for a while. And like I said, it's a lot of fun. You can do it with your buddies, stuff like that. I did it for years. But with the dogs, they really allow you to get another shot. Like I said, those rabbits will run in a circle. And again, the name of the game for us, hunting with rabbits, is really trying to shrink down that circle and cut the rabbit off. The dogs are just our alarm system. They letting us know where that rabbit is going, and we just try to cut them off as hunters. Go ahead.
So he was raising his hand.
I usually like to rip a tape apart with my thumb, which I usually do this.
Yeah. You got strong thumbs. You're probably stronger than me, huh? But yeah, walking up rabbits it's a lot of fun. You can do it. Again, that allows you to know where to start putting the dogs once you get them. Because again, you got to walk in there and you kick the brush piles and you're doing this sort of stuff. If you're in the wrong spot, you'll learn quick. The rabbits don't like that, and then you'll learn. It's a learning experience. Again, it'll allow you to pick your shots well, just doing it. Again, it allows you to get out there. That's pretty much the main part.
Yep, and you can always add the same method. Really applies when you're using a flushing dog. Like some people, I mean, some bird dog guys are really hardcore, not shooting rabbits in front of their dog, but some aren't. And yeah, with a flushing dog like that, they pretty much walk with you and they'll flush it. You got to jump shoot. You got to get it off the dog's nose because odds of anything but a beagle or bringing it back around pretty slim. It takes some serious nose power to be able to circle a rabbit. Most dogs can't do it. So there's a reason that beagles are the go-to for rabbit hunters. If you are walking up with dogs and everything else, then gun safety, gun safety, gun safety. Point in a safe direction. Know where the dogs are. Know where the people are. If there's anything in the way, skip it. It ain't worth it for a rabbit.
And when I'm taking newer hunters or just anybody I hunt with, it's something I teach. We don't walk up or we don't jump shoot rabbits. Reason being is you can be walking along, especially if you're in an area that has a lot of rabbits. You can literally, they're scary creatures anyway, so you can step on a twig and a rabbit will shoot out. What you don't want to do when you're having the dogs, you are so focused on that rabbit because you're getting tunnel vision, you want to get a shot off, everything else closes in on you. You may not see that dog, but the dog sees the rabbit as well. So you go to pull up and you go to take your aim at that rabbit, and the dog might shoot in front at the last second that you didn't even see just because you got tunnel vision. So I teach we do not jump shoot rabbits. We can always call the dogs over there. If you see them, we got words that we use to bring the dogs over. It's more fun for them anyway, just to watch them get excited over it, get them running, get them doing what they're trained to do. We don't jump shoot rabbit. At least I do not teach. We do not jump shoot rabbit because the last thing we want to do is shoot a dog at the end of the day. That's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah, that's my number one rule is, all the dogs come home without any shot in them. If you accidentally shot me, I'll probably forgive you and we can still be friends. But if you shoot one of my dogs, that's it. There's no coming back from that. So, so yeah, hunting with hounds. If you've never been out with beagles, you'll see it firsthand. The dogs are going to go out and they're going to find the rabbit. We're not beating brush. We're going to walk. The dogs are searching. They're going to jump a rabbit, and when they alert, they strike. So you hear a dog bark, and what they're doing is they're alerting us and they're alerting the other dogs that they found a hot track. And then even if you see that rabbit, we don't jump shoot. We want the dogs to work a little bit anyway. So, but those dogs will chase that rabbit, and the rabbit will usually circle back to where it starts. So there's no reason to rush that shot. Let the dogs work. Kind of stand close to where it started. Try and wait for it to come back around. When it comes back around, usually the rabbit will have a good lead on the dogs. You have a safe shot. When it's first jumped, a lot of times those dogs are right on its butt. But when they bring it back around, most of the time the rabbit's got a good lead on them, and you can get a shot at it.
So even with that, again, the dogs are gonna pretty much do the work. You're walking, they're following you, and we have work. We talk to our dogs. Again, these are not just utility. They're like your buddies. They're your partner. They're your family when you're getting going with them. So they listen to you, and you're walking along with them. And obviously, once you start training them, they know where to search. They know where the scents are. Once they get going, though, it is chaos, but it's a controlled chaos. Every dog has it. They're just like us. They have different voices, different personalities. They got everything that we do. When they get going, like it. I've been hunting before in public, and we're hunting rabbits, and the dogs are just going crazy. Everybody has a different voice, so they get all together. It's kind of harmonic in a sense. Just listen to them all. But there's a lady, she didn't know what was going on, and she was coming to save everybody. She didn't, a lot of people think, oh my God, her dog's hurt. Like, what's got him? Maybe got it by a coyote or something. But that's their happy voice. They love it. Yeah, yeah. You'll hear. It sounds like somebody's. You're walking around, you step on a dog's tail or something, or a cat. Yeah, it's like that. Each dog has a different voice. It sounds literally like somebody is hurting them. And actually, my dog's name, Ava, her name is screaming like it hurts, Ava. Just because the way she barks, she's just so forceful. She's just so passionate about it that she literally screams. Like it's a scream as she's running.
A dog out of her that
Does the
screams
same.
just like it, and then I've got a dog out of Lou that does it too, Trick. So yeah,
It's hereditary. But again, you get different dogs, different voices. That's the beauty of it. But like I was saying earlier, the dogs are your alarm system. Like they're letting you know where that rabbit's gonna go. A rabbit is gonna run in a circle. So if let's say a jump is basically the dogs get in there where that rabbit is hiding and they flush them. They get them going. For hunters who never hunted before, I always try to teach them go right back to that spot or to that area. That rabbit is gonna want to get back. That's where he's comfortable at. He's gonna want to get back to there at some point in time. Again, the name of the game for us, we're cutting them off. So it's either gonna be an oval or it's gonna be a circle. You're listening for the dogs. The dogs are gonna go out wherever that rabbit goes, and sometimes they're out of hearing distance, but you'll start to hear that train come back. And rabbit hunting, that's pretty much the only time you really got to be quiet. And the reason I say that is because if you're making noise, the rabbit's getting chased by something. It doesn't know what it is. It just knows they don't want to get caught. It don't want to get eaten. So it's going to keep running. If it hears you in front of it, stepping on a twig or breaking, whatever, it's going to go another way. So now you'd have to restart. And again, the dogs will allow you to find another area to get them, but it'll allow you to again cut that rabbit off. The rabbit's gonna have, I would say, 20 to 30 yards most of the time, and we have fairly fast dogs, to where they're gonna be pushing if the scenting condition is good. They're gonna push that rabbit pretty quick, so you'll still have a range. I say 20 to 30 yards to get a shot off. Again, if it's a situation where you miss the rabbit or you don't get a shot, not a big deal. We can always find another rabbit, or dogs will just keep them going. If it happens that they lose the rabbit or get in a hole or a brush pile, not a big deal. We can always find another rabbit and you'll get another chance at it. Compared to walking up, if you kick it and you miss your shot, that rabbit's gone. So
yeah, we ran one yesterday for an hour and 15 minutes. It was the sneakiest rabbit I've ever seen. He gave us hell. I finally got a shot at him. I kind of felt bad. He ran so good. He was a smart rabbit, but we did finally get him. Um, so yeah, the dogs will give you that other shot. Let them work. Have faith in the dogs. That's yep. All right. Etiquette. All right, hunting etiquette. Every group might have a little bit different etiquette rules, but like Steve and I said, jump shooting is a big one. Safety is the number one priority. We love our dogs. Take safe shots. Know where the dogs are. It's better to not shoot and let the rabbit come around again than risk injuring a dog or a hunting companion. Jump shooting is shooting a rabbit right as it's initially flushed. When walking up rabbits or using flushing dogs, that's jump shooting. There's no getting around it. You're going to have to jump shoot those methods. But you have to be super aware of everything when you're doing those methods. When you're hunting with beagles, jump shooting is taboo for a lot of beaglers. It's the big no-no.
yeah.
The dogs will bring it back around. Just have faith in the dogs. Make sure everyone knows that expectation. For the dog owners in your party, if they say no jump shooting and you do it, you're probably not going to get invited back to go hunting with them again. So, yep. Must-haves, equipment. You know, your method of take, firearm and the proper ammunition, and for that location. If it's lead-free, it needs to be lead-free, that type of thing. Or whatever your method of take is. If it's a bow and arrow, you know, your right arrows, you're probably not wanting to use broadheads, you know, blunt tips or judos. Good boots. Good boots. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you. This is probably your most important piece of equipment when you're hunting rabbits with dogs is boots. I go through at least 2 pairs of boots every year. About every 6 months, I got to replace them. You want them to fit good. Fit is great. Steve's got these hip boots back here.
So I like using the Dan hip boots. Again, it's not a necessity, but it helps a lot. Because again, you start walking through some of those briar patches and whatnot, though you'll be surprised. They'll stick through your pants, and I don't care how many layers you got. With this material, it doesn't. You will not feel those briars stick through you at all. Again, I use Dan boots. There's other brands who make them. There's some that slip over. This is a boot chap combo. Again, the soles on here, I probably think this is probably one of the best purchases, to be honest. It's like walking on pillows. They're very, very comfortable. You don't want to have a pair of boots that you ain't comfortable in walking as much as we will. You'll know the next morning you got blisters or something like that. You don't want that because then you may not want to go again. They're worth their money. They usually last a really long time. But like I said, this is a chap boot combo. So it'll literally go all the way up to my hip. Now, some places we're hunt, you may have to cross a creek or something. They're waterproof 100%. I've been up to water as high as this button, and they didn't get in my boots. It helps out a whole lot. Even in the mornings, when you're hunting in the dew and the taller grass, your pants are wet. These help. You will not have any water or any of that sort of stuff. I use these year round. I use them for pretty much all the hunting I do. Turkey hunting. I mean, every type of hunt I do, I use these chaps just because you're prepared for most stuff. If you know how to cross water, if it's cold, or they're insulated. Even if it's super cold, I just have one pair of wool socks and these, and my feet are sweating. And we've hunted in literally negative temperatures before, and they do just fine. So it's something to look into. Again, there's some where they're just chaps where you can just pull over and it'll just land on the top of your boot on your foot. Those work as well too. I know he has a pair of those.
I very rarely wear my chaps these days anymore. I used to swear by I wore them all the time. I've gotten away from the chaps more because I get hot when I'm wearing them. So, because we're walking, we're doing anything. So, I've just decided that my legs are just gonna get beat up because I like to get hot. But the other thing about boot fits, and this is my secret, I'm gonna share it with all of you guys right now. If you have an odd shoe size, or if you're a smaller guy like me, I wear a 7.5. They don't make boots for dudes in my size. So you'll notice I have the nice purple ones. Women's 9s. They're the exact same thing, but they come in cuter colors.
They work.
But they fit better because if I try to wear men's 8s, then I'm getting blisters and everything like that. So, swallow your pride, whatever. Get boots that fit. Doesn't matter what they are. Get boots that fit. That's your most important thing with boots. And then, of course, there's methods to clean them without a knife. You don't need a knife. I like a knife. I like a knife on me for a lot of reasons. We used it last year just because we were out. Trixie caught a rabbit. I didn't have a game pouch on me because we weren't carrying guns. It was just like that. You can put a little hole in the leg of the rabbit and then hang it from your belt. So there's always a good reason to have a knife. You can use them if your dog gets caught in a snare or something like that. Anything. There's always a good reason to have a knife on you. Next one, the nice to haves. Of course, the pack of hounds. If you're hunting, you don't need a pack of hounds to hunt rabbits, but it's super nice to have. Blaze orange is not required to hunt rabbits in Iowa, but it is not a bad idea. So I have my pullover with the game vest. The game vest, like I said, sometimes you don't have to have it. But if you don't have it, then you don't have a place to put your rabbits, so you got to figure out a way to do that. So game vest, nice to have. First aid kits are a good idea. I've got my dog bag. I've got all kinds of first aid stuff in here. I've got my doggy stapler if they get torn on barbed wire. Oof. Some betadine to clean stuff up. I've got tape. I've got this stuff for their ears. It's mushroom. It's like wax stuff you can put on your dog's ears. Eye wash if they get something in their eye. This is some dye I put in a syringe. This is sugar and fat. Sometimes you get dogs that don't know enough to quit, and they run themselves until they're about ready to collapse because Randy's an idiot with a lot of drive. And so this is Randy's.
What they are bred to do.
Absolutely.
This is
Absolutely.
Randy.
That's just what they're bred to do.
Absolutely.
So every now and again, if they, they start putting the miles on and everything like that, and he will literally run until he drops. So you give him some sugar and give him a break. Put him on the lead. Make him take a break, and then let him back off.
And we hunt, and you are 1,000% right. I agree. Like these, they love it. Once they're trained to do it, they love doing it. You can tell the way they hunt, but they don't know how to quit. That's kind of what you want, though. You want a dog that's gonna keep going. I like carrying a water bottle, and I usually use it for the dogs, not just for them to get a drink, but when you're out there in the field, mine has a squirter on there. You just run it across the top of their head. A lot of times you might want to get their body. It's not necessary. You just don't want their brains to overheat. Their body, obviously, they're going to be panting and that sort of stuff. I keep a lot of water with me for them. Go ahead, sir.
I had a friend of mine that had a retriever.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pheasant hunter. It ran so hard that they lost him. And they found him the following spring. It was in the winter. There was a lot of snow.
Yeah.
They took him to the University of Minnesota, and it ran so hard that his heart exploded.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
That's what they are bred to do. I mean, this.
Yep.
I don't think necessarily that they all run on until their hearts explode.
Right. No, and it takes you as the owner too, because again, these are our buddies, these are our pets. Like we love our dogs, so you want to keep watching because we hunt year round. Like I run my dogs year round, even in the summertime. Now you may have to get out there a lot earlier because it's a little bit cooler and the dew on the ground will help. But I run my dogs year round, and that's why it literally it's like an athlete. You know, you can't go in a wrestling season or basketball or football and just think the week before you're gonna get ready and go. You're probably not gonna wrestle. You're probably not gonna play as well. It's literally no different. So these are little athletes. We keep them going. Even off season, it may not be as much, but you got to keep them in tune. You got to keep them going. Again,
I do a lot of field trials. So
that too.
There's field trials all
throughout
year
the summer.
round,
Yeah.
So yeah, I keep mine in shape all summer long. And yeah, water bottles. These are great. I found these this last fall. This flips up and then you squirt it up in there, and then so you're not wasting all the water. This one has some. This one actually isn't water. This is another little thing I found. It's like a doggy Gatorade.
Yep.
That I give this. This helps Randy because he doesn't know enough to quit. So Randy's
Randy's the problem.
You know what? Sometimes those high maintenance dogs. He's my only grand champion right now. Lose close, but yeah, Randy he earns his keep, but he's high maintenance. You gotta keep on your toes because he doesn't know how to quit. That's how he got.
Always strive for.
Yeah.
That's how he got to be a grand champion.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
you touch on collars at all?
Yeah, collars, tracking collars. Steve uses Garmin. I use Dogtra, GPS, training functions. These are great. 9 mile range with terrain. It gets down, but I can get about a mile even in pretty good cover with them. I don't let my dogs off the leash without at least a tracking collar. I might not need the training function, but at least the tracking collar.
It helps. Like I said, there's a bunch of brands out there, and do you necessarily have to go with a Dogtra? And I run a Garmin, which is expensive. I still have the old model. There's so many different others that you can use. I know Sport Dog has a few of them that you don't have to use that much money. But tracking systems are, man, they're a peace of mind. Because one, you get to see where the dogs are. For years before I had the money, I saved up the money to buy a Garmin, I just had a doggy bell, and I bought off of Amazon, I bought like just a little collar, it's a handheld, and all it had was a beeper, a tone, and like a shock function. But again, they make really large doggy bells. That way you can still hear them clinging around. I tried putting it on my coon dog. It didn't work as well as my Beagles. So that's why I had to turn around and buy like a tracking system. Again, there's other options out there. You can always buy them secondhand too. They work really well. You don't have to spend quite as much money. But again, it allows you to see where the dogs are. Some of the features, like with the dog trust, you can literally have it on your phone. That way you don't have to have the actual handheld to go with it.
You can track on your
Watch your phone. I mean, there's a lot of options as far as that go. Otherwise, you can just use the regular handheld. Again, it's a peace of mind. The last thing you want to have out there, you put all this time into your dog and he gets on a rabbit and you lose him, or something happened. He may be caught, in a fence or something, and you lose him. At least that.
Out of an old well 2 months ago.
Yep.
Randy, there we go with Randy again. Just, it said he was treed. I'm like, how is he treed? He's a beagle. Why is he treed? But he's not moving anywhere. And I'm calling him, he's not coming. And I gave him a little tickle with the collar, and I heard a little yip out of him, and he still didn't come. So I walk over there, and he's down in Old Well. Luckily, you could get down there to him. It wasn't terrible to get back out. But, how long would that take without the tracking collar to find him?
And it's a training feature. A lot of them come with, like I said, the tone feature, which is basically a beeper. And we'll talk more once we get in the field. It'll be a little bit easier probably to see. They tone, they vibrate, and then there's a shock or stimulation function. We train all our dogs, as I do, to come back on the tone. Yep. It's a lot of stuff you can do at home in the yard, just with that collar, just having that dog come back. Another little thing I like to use is a clicker. When they're all puppies, I train with a clicker like a lot of people do with bird dogs. I train them with a clicker along with their collar. So no matter where they're at, if I beep them, they're going to come. You got to yell so they know exactly where you are, but they're going to come back to you. If you need any more, some hard-headed dogs, maybe Randy. His mom's like that too, actually. But they may come back. If you need a little bit more encouragement, there's other functions on that collar to get them to come back to you.
I whistle train mine.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Because we do a lot of dog trials, and in the format we run, you cannot use training function. You can use track only collars.
Yep.
But you cannot have a training function on the collar.
Nope.
And so I train mine with the whistle. So when I blow on my little coach's whistle, they should come, yeah. And a lot of times that saves me having to
trying to go get them. Yeah.
And get them, because when they're on a hot track or you're trying to pull them off something, or this reaches out, and then my voice isn't so sore the next day from hollering. So I love my whistle.
Will the whistle call them off of a track?
It'll call Odie off a track. It might pull Lou off the track. It won't pull any of the rest of them off the track, but it might make them pause for a second. So just a little closer. Yep. They think about, maybe I know he's calling me. Should I listen? No, I'm not going to listen, but I get a little more ground.
Yeah.
At the very least. Beagles are hard-headed. Yeah. We talked about briar-proof clothing, chaps, vests, shirts, etc. I've got my briar-proof stuff on that. If it's warm out early season, I usually will bring a cooler with ice if I'm planning to harvest any rabbits. That way I can get those rabbits on ice so they're not sitting out there in 80-degree weather, 75-degree weather, whatever it happens to be. It's an old wives' tale that rabbits have any more parasites before the frost. It's just as safe to eat them in September as it is to eat them in February. They're warm-blooded. The rabbit's inside temperature is the same year-round. The one I harvested yesterday still had fleas on it. You know what I mean? They don't lose any parasites. So that's just... We'll talk about that when we clean rabbits too. How to check for stuff like that. Parasites aren't a big deal. You're going to cook them anyway. They're usually in the abdomen, and you'll get rid of them. Can't shovel and wet wipes. This one I can't. These are, anytime you're out in the field, there's not a lot of bathrooms. These will save your life. A shovel. I have my camp shovel in the truck because the dogs love to roll in anything that's disgusting. So do your other hunters a favor. Even if you're not out with dogs, if you're out deer hunting, please, if you have to poop in the woods, bury it. Somebody's going to come by with a dog, and they're going to be in that. And then I'm going to have to clean all the equipment, and it's disgusting.
So you speaking from experience, man. Something happened.
First time I ever took Blue out, she was like 16 weeks old. Like, and she got into some deer hunter's poop right in the parking lot. Oh my god! brand new tracking collar. You know, nice $300 tracking collar that just came out of the box that day, and it's in every crevice.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the hose out that way, wouldn't you?
It's cold. I mean, like I don't have a hose out there, but she still. And I didn't have dog boxes at that point because I only had. She was my second
In
dog.
the back of the car.
So I used to just let him ride in the back. So she had to ride in the cab home.
Been there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right, moving on. So yeah, that's pretty much our presentation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna split into a couple of groups. We got more people than can probably ride. So if anybody wants to drive and follow, we'll head out to the field. Is anybody hungry? Want to eat lunch
Or
now?
questions too.
Yeah, questions.
Let's do Q&A and then maybe
let's do.
and that way we can spend plenty of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question for you guys. So I've grown up with Beagles, and like you said, they're pretty hard-headed sometimes. So do you find, you said you have coon dogs too, do you find that they're maybe a little bit harder to train than other dogs, like getting them to come back and stuff?
Yes. 100%. Yes.
My experience, and he's got some dogs from me, so that might be part of my problem. But no, it's the legwork you do at the house is what I've seen. When they're puppies, we've raised litters and stuff like that. How much you handle them when they're that young plays a huge factor. When they start getting a little bit bigger, the time you spend with them matters. Now I've used a clicker, but the training collars, again, the beep function and the vibrate function work wonders. Because again, they'll test you, man. Like they really will. They'll literally be right across, starting. They'll be right across the parking lot. You'll call them, they'll stop and look at you and just keep doing their thing. You call them, you hit the beeper until they realize what it is, and they're like, "Oh, that was a nice sound." They just keep doing whatever they're doing. You give them a little encouragement, they learn, and when you're encouraging them, you never want to start at the maximum power. Just tickle them a little bit. They'll realize quick when Dad says come, I probably should come on. But again, it's the legwork at the house. We handle our dogs a lot. Every day you're feeding them, talking to them. They start to learn. Y'all build that bond, dude. You can't break it. You can't break it.
I want to address. So some people do not like electronic collars for training dogs. There's a lot of misinformation about it. What it is, they're really not bad. I've never shocked a dog on any level that I haven't tried on myself. It's more of a startle than it is a pain type of thing. But you have to look at it from a safety point. You know what I mean? These dogs are out in the field running, they'll get away from you. There's highways, there's roads, there's all kinds of hazards.
Yes.
So it is better to use a training collar and keep that dog safe and home than to have it end up a grease stain on a highway because it wouldn't come when it was called. So if anybody has problems with the e-collars or anything like that, you need to keep that in mind. These are safety devices. Nobody enjoys causing any kind of discomfort or pain to a dog. We try not to do it to the point where it would be painful. Like I said, most of them none of my collars really get to the point where it's painful. It's uncomfortable, but it's not really super painful. It's more of a startling thing than anything.
And usually with the training, if you have a fairly smart dog, it's only gonna take 1 or 2 times, and they realize pretty quick. I can't remember the last time I've had to use the stimulation on my dogs at all, because they just learn.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
I call it conditioning.
There you go.
Yeah.
They have to understand what is happening. If you just bolt one of those on and go after them, they don't
they'll be afraid of it.
Understand why.
Yes.
And they will oftentimes, and I haven't done this, but I've seen other people do this. They will give an electric stimulation, and the dog now goes into high speed because it doesn't understand
what happened,
why it is getting this.
That's exactly right. It's a way to. That's all it is. It's a way to communicate with your dog, and you have to establish that language before you're in the field. And that's what a lot of people don't understand with those is they don't do the right conditioning and they use them incorrectly. They go right to the max settings, but yeah, they're great tools in the right hands. Some people probably need some more education on them, but
And it's a
I
training thing
consider
too.
a long leash.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a handle on that dog. It's keeping it safe.
And you got to think too, if they're on that game animal, you really want to be slow to push that button, because that dog may think that, okay, we're training them on rabbits. You go to shock that dog while he's chasing a rabbit, he's gonna think that rabbit caused this issue, and he's never gonna want to mess with a rabbit again. There's some training techniques that you can do it where we use it for deer. Our dogs they will not run a deer. You do not want a dog to run a deer, and we use that function as that. If they're starting to run a deer, you may give them a little bit of encouragement, and they think that whatever just happened to me is the cause of this deer, this scent. I better stay away from it, and you never, usually have an issue with them running the deer again. But that tracking collar, that training collar is well worth the money. Again, it takes a little bit slow. It takes time for you also to learn your dog, but it helps out a whole lot.
You hear the old timers that had these dogs before training collars were really around, and it was just so common for them to lose dogs. And that is just, I can't imagine how much stress that would be
Oh
to
man.
just have to leave one in the field and go back and hope you find it again. You know what I mean? So that's my shtick on training collars. Any other questions? Well,
Ooh.
Do you guys want to watch the cleaning?
oh yeah, let's watch the
videos?
cleaning video.
Okay.
Oh, so yeah, there's a few different ways. I mean, there's tons of ways to do all of this sort of stuff. We're not saying any of what we're sharing is the way to do it. It's just a way to do it. I made a few videos where I'm always asking questions, trying to figure out different ways to do something I can adopt and learn from other people. I've done it for a while, but I don't claim to be an expert on it. I'm constantly learning. You always got to be a student of this stuff, just because there's always somebody out there doing it a better way than you are. If you're not open-minded to figuring out how they did it or to ask questions about it, you may be missing out something that could help you in the long run.
And
But
I've changed the way I clean my rabbits probably 5, 6 times in the last decade. You know what I mean? Like I'm always finding a different way that I might prefer better for whatever reason, or sometimes it's a time thing. This one's quicker, or this. But so this is the way I've been doing it lately.
is there a light function or no?
Yeah, I got it.
There you go.
This is the fast way.
This is the fastest way I've found to do it. And before you start, it's the same concept as like almost like cleaning a deer. I feel clean mine, so I don't have to do it when I get home, having some of that stuff at the house. Again, we hunt in the winter time, and some of those other animals can find it can be hard for them to find something to eat too. So I kind of think of it as giving back. Just like when we clean a deer, we leave some of that stuff out there. You'd be surprised how many animals now have a meal and can live a bit longer just because we helped them out in that aspect. It's still the same with our rabbits. I feel clean mine. I usually have a bucket of water. We forgot to mention game shears. They're probably one of the other clutch things to have, just because you can do so much with them and how they're made now. It can do a lot of different things in just that one tool. But if you want to roll it, this is just one. This is just one way I've learned to do it. So the rabbit feet, especially when I'm starting training, those are free training tools. I keep those. I keep them in all my puppies. That's the first toy they get is rabbit feet off of a wild rabbit I've harvested. I'll tie it on a string or a long stick, and just some fishing line or a fishing pole. I'll tie them all together, and I'll literally just make that rabbit chase it. I'll play hide and seek with that. That's how we start our dogs is using that. That's a free tool.
Both of those videos were on these guys' YouTube pages, and they've got a lot of other really good stuff on there, so you can get those
Yep.
names to you, Balling Out Kennel and
At Dirty Beagles on Instagram. There's like 2 videos on my YouTube.
okay.
So
Yeah.
it's not a great
There's
source.
yeah, there's
I'm not a big YouTuber.
I don't know if anybody's into it. I got YouTube, Instagram, like TikTok, and all that sort of Facebook. That's probably a place I post most of my stuff. We got a bunch of training videos, dog training concepts, and all that good stuff. Yeah, Balling Out Kennels or Steve Thomas. It's all there.
Right. So we're gonna go out to the field after this, but we're gonna eat lunch first. So there's rabbit stew, there's some dinner rolls, bowls and silverware over there. Everybody help yourself.